Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my next podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 9:16 p.m. here Alaska time. It's been an interesting season to say the least. I've been working hard out there. We hit our goal for the year. We're working on getting some more. Uh, it's been a long time. Been up here for a while. Kind of getting a little homesick. Don't get me wrong, I love it up here, right? But after a while, all we're seeing right now are the fishermen leaving. It's already towards the end of the season. A lot of people leave by now. Some of them are staying, like us. We're staying until probably August 3rd or 4th, depending. If the fish die out like completely, like we don't get anything for 2 or 3 days in a row, that's it. They're gone. They're upstream, they're upriver, they're in their spawning grounds. That's it. We're done for the year. We're going home. It's a bittersweet type of feeling, right? Because again, like I said, I love it up here, but I can't wait to get home either. I have a lot of things to do when I get back, like post this. I'm up here in my room right now, doing my podcast instead of going outside. I had to charge my phone and my GoPro, so I decided to just do it up here. Everyone's out of the cabin. Sean and Emily, they went down the beach to go visit people. Alan, he went to go visit someone too. I didn't want to go out, so I decided to just do my podcast, right? As of right now, today, per site, we're at about, I don't know, I want to say 45 to 50,000 pounds per site right now, which is not that bad of a season, right? It's doing pretty well. And it's, from what I hear, it's not the best season they've had, but we were talking earlier, and it's reminding them of their highest season, which was about 4 years ago, and it happened just pretty much how it's happening now. So the fish were kind of like dropping off on numbers here a few days ago, and we have to adjust our net. We have our screw anchors out there, so we have to, depending on the size of the tide, we either come in on towards the beach or we go out towards the ocean in the flats. Excuse me. And so we've been just leaving it at one spot for a while, and then the tides are starting to get bigger. So what was it? Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. We the night before, we decided again just put our net back in towards the beach because it was going to be a big tide, and that night it started getting windy. So it's been a good wind. If we have an onshore wind, it'll bring in more fish, and we did pretty well. We did the evening tide out there, moved it right back in, and this was last night. Last night we put it back in there, and it was a good strong wind. I don't know exactly how fast it was going, but if I would say, it'd probably be going a good 15-20 miles an hour wind onshore, which brings in the fish. So it brought in cold weather. It was great. As the night progressed, it started getting windier and windier. So I'm guessing it probably came up to a good 30 miles an hour, maybe I don't know. But it does, you can hear some of the cabin shake a little bit, creak, because of the wind. If a wind gust hits a window, it'll sometimes rattle. So there's a good wind going on. We're getting all excited for fishing in the morning, because if a wind is like that and it brings in the cold weather, not necessarily raining, but fresh weather, it'll bring in a lot of fish. And since most of the people north of the beach of us, and the fish come in on the flood, when the water comes in, they come in south to north. And on the ebb, which is when the fish come out, they go north to south. But they don't hit the beach straight in, and they don't go parallel to the beach. They hit at an angle, so that's how they get into our nets, right? So anyways, we're going to bed, and I know it's really, really windy outside. And last night, I don't know, maybe around 10:30, 11, something like that. I'm already laying in bed. Everybody, Emily and Sean are next door. Alan's asleep downstairs. I'm already here. My room lights are off. I'm pretty much going to sleep. I can hear the wind. I can hear everything the whole season. And out of nowhere, like, I felt pretty much the entire second floor up here shake. Like, it wasn't a strong shake like a rattle. It was like a wave type of shake. And I was like, wow, it's really, really freaking windy out there. It's going to be crazy tomorrow morning. It's going to be cold, whatever. I didn't think much of it. It shook, I don't know, maybe about, I want to say a good 5-10 seconds like that. And I was surprised. Like, I've never felt the wind like this before. And it's been windy up here. So anyways, you know, wake up in the morning. We go out. We do our thing. Fish the net. We move it back out because that's the smaller tide. Get back to the cabin. I go out there. I smoke my cigarette. Come back inside. I turn the phone on upstairs. We have this satellite phone that for the area, but we can only get service in my room in this corner of the window. So I leave it there. Leave it charging. I turn it off when I go to sleep because nobody wants to be woken up by a phone. So when we all take a nap, or even when I take a nap, I just shut it off and I'll turn it back on when I wake up, right? So we got to the cabin. I turned the phone on, and about 10 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's my mom. And I answered, and I was like, hello, hello, you know, whatever. And she's like, hey, is everything okay? How are you doing? I'm like, good. You know, why? What's going on? What happened? In my head, I'm thinking, you know, some outbreak out here that we haven't heard on the radio because we've been fishing. We haven't had the radio on in a couple of days. And she's like, well, there was an earthquake in Alaska last night. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. It was like a 7 point something last night, like around 10:30 or this and that. I'm like, wow. That explains the shaking of the cabin. Like I said, the entire second floor just... And it's funny because earlier in the morning, Alan and I were talking about it. I was like, did you feel the wind? It shook the whole cabin. He's like, yeah, I saw my little light fixtures and my bug zapper just start waving like that. And wow, the wind must be strong. And so after I talked with my parents, you know, we found out kind of where it's at. It's more towards the southeast of where we're at, across the peninsula. And a place called Perryville. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you guys look it up for July 21st earthquake in Alaska, you'll find where it's at. And then once you do that, cross-reference and pinpoint where I'm at, Big Creek, Alaska. If you find a place, to see a place that's called Igigik, Egigick, something like that. We're about 10-15 miles just north, following around the beach. So anyways, she tells me where it's at. I'm like, oh no, we're fine. Like, she said, oh, there was also a tsunami warning, and I was like, oh crap, like the beach is flooded. And it wasn't flooded. I was like, oh crap, there's still a tsunami coming. And she's like, no, but they took the warning off in a couple hours. And I haven't heard, I haven't turned on the radio to hear what's happened around the area that it affected, but I'm pretty sure it's been bad. I hope it's not. I pray for them if they are. But either way, she told me that, and I was surprised. An earthquake up here. Damn, okay. So I go downstairs, and I let, you know, Sean, Emily, and Alan finish their conversation, and I'm like, my mom called. He's like, oh, good. How's it going? Well, she told me there was an earthquake up here. Oh, really? Yeah. The whole shaking of the cabin and everything like that, that's what happened. Sean and Emily, they slept through it. We went to another fisherman's cabin yesterday. Their last name is Buffy. I'm probably butchering it. I'm sorry, Sean. Sean Buffy. His wife, Jenny, I believe. And his daughter and two other people. I think one of them was his daughter's boyfriend or husband or something. Either way, we go there. We had dinner. I had a couple of drinks, so Emily and Sean were feeling pretty good. So they slept through it. They were tired, so the alcohol hit them harder, right? I was barely going to bed too, and I felt it. It was pretty cool to say that I was in an earthquake in Alaska. I mean, obviously it's not cool that there was an earthquake because I don't know what the damage is like at that area, but it makes for a cool story while I was up here. So we started joking around and saying like, hey, you know, obviously, for some of my viewers in the valley, you know me as Rini or Rene. Up here, they say Rene. So they're like, oh, Renee had a visitor upstairs last night. I was like, nope, I didn't have any visitors up here. I was trying to pass out because I knew we had to fish. And we just run on jokes like that. It's pretty funny. Fish in the morning. Got a few thousand pounds each net. Put the net out again. Went down for a ride on the beach, and we saw the bluffs. The bluffs on the beach down there, down towards Coffee Point, Southway. You see just chunks of it just falling, just gone. And I hear the bike. I think Alan's back. And it's pretty cool. I'll try to show the chunks of it too on that. But came back, set out the net. Just got back from fishing a while ago, and I wanted to take this time to make a quick podcast and check in with you guys and tell you a little bit more of the story. Right, as time goes on more, I'll see if I can have a little bit more time to record another one, because we've been fishing twice a day for the last week or so, and I don't have too much energy to do all this because I do other things around, or if I'm really wiped out after 3 days of 2 tides, I'll be in my bed most of the day. But thank God everybody's good up here, and fishing is great. So this is it for this podcast. Until next time, guys, stay tuned.